From Daily Trust News Center, this is News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu visits Akure, meets Pa Fasorati, Afenifere leaders over action plan. Terrorists abduct 2 women, 3 children, invade Katsina community. Nigeria defeat Germany to win bronze in FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. And 11 die in stampede at Fally Ipupa concert in Democratic Republic of the Congo. Hello and welcome. I'm Zainab Bala. APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu was in Akure, the Ondo State capital, on Sunday to present his action plan on how to reposition the country to the leadership of Afenifere, the Yoruba cultural and political organization. Tinubu arrived at the airport in Akure earlier in the day and was received by the state's deputy governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, the state's APC chairman, Ade Adetimehin, and other leaders of the party in and outside Ondo. From the airport, the APC presidential candidate had moved to the country home of the leader of the group, Pa Ruben Fasorati, where the leaders of Afenifere were already waiting to receive him. Pa Fasorati, the former leader of Afenifere, had prayed for the presidential candidate, which is seen as a subtle endorsement. Tension heightens in the Musa local government area of Katsina State as terrorists target vigilante group leaders, killing 3 in a space of 10 days. Chairman of a local vigilante group in Sabala in Dang Ali, Lawal Usman, killed on Monday morning while traveling to a nearby village on a motorcycle. Similarly, the chairman of Entumaki Vigilante Corps and 2 of his colleagues were also ambushed and killed while returning from a security meeting with the chairman of the Musa Local Government Council a few days ago. Abdullahi Yamudi meets the families of the slain vigilante leaders and now reports.
Sabala in Dang Ali, a farming community, and Dang Ali village were thrown into mourning following the killing of their vigilant group chairman, who played a vital role in protecting their lives and property. Ismail Hassan was riding a motorcycle together with the vigilante chairman when terrorists on motorbike chased and shot the victim with AK-47 rifle to death, leaving behind 2 wives and 8 children. I'm the one riding the bike, conveying him to the village, a community on Kangara Entumaki Road. Unknown to us, the bandits were pursuing us on high speed with motorcycle. As soon as they caught up with us, they shot him with a gun. Bauchi Haladu, who is the father of the deceased, said he has been warning his son not to be moving around on a motorcycle. Bauchi Haladu explained how the immediate past chairman of the vigilante group, who is also his younger brother, was killed in the same manner just a month ago. You know, they killed his predecessor, who is my younger brother, just less than a year ago, and this is my son. I can understand they are now after vigilantes. There is fear and apprehension everywhere in this area. Aisha, a widow, recalled her late husband's last words before he left house on that fateful Monday, telling her that he was traveling to a nearby village, but he may not likely return alive.
I knew my husband was going to die because from his utterances, I can comprehend something sad was going to happen.
In Entumaki, the family of late Umar Gambo, another vigilante group chairman, who was ambushed and killed alongside 2 others, is still receiving mourners and sympathizers. Here, the deceased left behind 3 beloved wives and 19 children.
He left everything in the hands of God. My major concern now is how to take care of the children he left behind. May his soul rest in peace.
The terrorists in the Musa local government area often operate freely, killing abducting people for ransom, and rustling animals without any resistance. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Terrorists have invaded the Dajamari community in Katsina State, abducting 2 women and their 3 children. Although police authorities are yet to confirm the incident, eyewitnesses told newsmen that the terrorists stormed the community on Saturday night. The gunmen were said to have spent about 30 minutes shooting with sophisticated weapons before the security operatives eventually repelled them. This incident was coming barely 2 days after police rescued 21 kidnapped victims at the Dutsamma local government area of the state. The police public relations officer in the state, Gambo Isa, in a statement said that many terrorists were killed and some escaped the scene with gunshot wounds. He said that tactical teams are still combing the area with the hope of recovering dead bodies and or arresting the injured terrorists. He said investigations are still ongoing. Now, residents of the Musa local government area are lamenting over what they described as lopsided negotiations with bandits. The residents allege that despite the recent negotiation with local authority, residents have been going through a series of bandits attacks. Abdullahi Yamadi speaks with some of the affected communities in this area, and he now reports.
Dang Ali village in the Musa local government is one of the communities most affected by the activities of bandits. Here, many people have been displaced, animals rustled, and many people, including women and children, abducted for ransom. You see, we are only living here at the mercy of the terrorists. All the traditional institutions, local courts, and security outposts have been terrorized, closed, and relocated to safer places. Schools and hospitals in all the insecurity-prone communities have also been closed. Roads leading to and from these communities are deserted, even on market days. Residents of Entomaki are worried that since the recent negotiation with bandits, the entire communities in the local government are recording broad daylight robbery, killings, and abductions. In both Entomaki and Dan Musa districts, there are people we know who are harboring criminals, selling drugs and alcohol, but I don't think anything is being done about it. This needs to be checked and controlled. Describing the negotiation as one-sided, residents are calling on the relevant stakeholders to either revisit or cancel the whole arrangement to give communities opportunity to protect themselves against bandits' attacks. When contacted, the Katsina State Police Command dissociated itself from any local arrangement or negotiation with the terrorists.
We have an information that some communities are dialoguing with these terrorists, which is very bad, because the state government, the federal government is the one that should be able to do something in that regard, not even the security agencies, but for communities to decide on their own to dialogue with terrorists. I think they are giving out themselves to the mercy of these hoodlums. And that's why you see some communities will not be attacked, but the neighboring communities will be attacked. A local government will not be attacked, but the neighboring local government will be attacked.
The command is, however, warning people of the state against any form of negotiation with bandits and called for synergy between residents and security operatives to defeat the enemies of peace. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Zamfara State Police have repelled bandits' attacks in 4 local government areas of the state and rescued 4 kidnapped victims. The spokesperson of the State Police Command, Muhammad Shehu, said on Sunday that the bandits had wanted to attack some villages in Maru, Bungudu, Safe, and Bukuyum local governments, but were repelled following intelligence reports. Shehu said between Friday and Sunday 30th, the command received intelligence reports on plans by the bandits to attack the villages. He maintained that the collaborative effort of the police and the vigilante had led to the rescue of 4 kidnapped victims, including a 1-year-old child. Governors of the 5 southeast states have agreed to set up a joint security patrol in all major highways to contain rising insecurity in the sub-region. The governors agreed to several positions at an emergency meeting held in Enugu on Sunday, including a call on the federal government to provide adequate security in the zone. Chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, Dave Omahi of Ebonyi State, appealed to the federal government to initiate the dredging of rivers in the southeast in order to forestall future devastation by flooding in the sub-region. The Southeast governors dismissed claims that it set up the Eastern Security Network, insisting that its regional formations remain Ebubeagu and the Forest Guards. The group believes that a political solution is possible to fast-track the release of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra. Now, the Turkish ambassador to Nigeria, Hidayat Bakarakta, has said that drones and helicopters from Turkey will soon arrive in Nigeria as part of efforts to strengthen the security architecture of the country. Bayraktar made these known during the commemoration of the 99th National Day of the Republic of Turkey in Abuja. He described the security support from Turkey to Nigeria as an achievement from the Defense Cooperation contract signed by the 2 countries in 2021. He said Turkey was set to extend all kinds of support to Nigeria in its effort to counter security threats by sharing its experience, technical expertise, and technology. He said the Turkish government was also expecting the Nigerian government to reciprocate its legitimate security concerns by taking the necessary steps against the strong presence of terrorist groups in Nigeria. On the bilateral relations between both countries, he said he was very proud that 2021 and 2022 had been a period of great achievements in the bilateral relationships between Turkey and Nigeria. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Ghali, has warned journalists not to engage in reporting fake news capable of igniting crisis in the country. The IGP made the call during the commissioning of a new building of police station in Ibusa in Oshimili North local government area of Delta State. IG Usman said kidnapping and banditry are modern-day crimes and all security agencies need to work together to be able to fight and make Nigeria a peaceful place. Moving on, some traders at the popular Alaba International Market in Lagos said they are still gripped by fear as the market was reopened for business on Tuesday after 5 days closure due to crisis that erupted in the market last week. The chairman of Alaba International Amalgamated Traders Association Council of Sectoral Heads, Mboni Geoffrey, told Trust TV that the leaders of the park management are yet to sign the agreement reached, but they have concluded to reopen the market due to the assurance from the security agencies. Trust TV's Abbas Dalibi reports.
Business activities has been restored in the market, which was open on Tuesday morning.
As you can see, this is part of Alaba International Market. The market has been open after 5 days, which was unlocked due to the crisis that erupted. However, the business is booming little by little, while the marketers are still complaining.
Some people are still afraid, thinking that there will still be riot again. Like some of my customers call. The market is a little bit down, but the situation I'm seeing now is okay.
The public relation officer of the Amalgamated Union in the market, Mohammed Buba, highlights some of the agreement reached by both parties.
You can see there is no more algorithms within the market, and everybody can buy his goods and go out without extorting money from him. As of today, there is nothing like that. Everybody is doing his business. My hope is let the government make sure they enforce this law and let it be as it is, as we are talking about.
The chairman of Alaba International Amalgamated Traders Association Council of Sectional Heads, Mboni Geoffrey, disclosed that the leaders of the park management had yet to sign the agreement reached.
We are ready to pay the statutory fee approved by the local government, by the state, by the federal government. And the collection point should be outside the market, Alaba International Market in Varo, because this is an international market. And the amount to be paid should be known and agreed by both parties, and also received. Though they promise us they will ordain the mass, they are going to meet up with our demands. Thereafter, there was a communique between we and the park management representatives and the security agencies, which the SA and local government chairman instructed the legal department of Ojo local government to put it in writing, as we are all agreed, in order to make sure peace come back to Alaba International Market.
The hope of the traders and their customers is for the peace to be restored in the market for businesses to thrive.
Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Northern Consensus Movement has given 21 days ultimatum to the Southeast governors to protect northerners residing in the region, or they would ban supply of foodstuffs to the region. Addressing journalists in Kaduna, the group said the attacks on northerners in Southeast must stop.
"21 working days from today, if nothing has been done between today to the next 21 days, if nothing has been done, then we will have no option than to outrightly stop everything that is moving from the north to the eastern part of Nigeria. Until a decisive action is taken, until we see that the government is taking an action, or the leaders of those regions gave a commitment of the protections of life and properties of our people. Once we start this no food supply, believe me, it's going to be indefinite, but we are not violent, we are law-abiding.
You're watching news on Trust Television. Coming up, craft that never fades in a fast-changing world. Details of this after the break. Stay with us.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
That's great.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust Television. Here are our top stories. APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu visits Akure, meets Pa Fasorati, Afenifere leaders over action plan. Terrorists abduct 2 women, 3 children, evade Katsina community. Moving on, presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, Omowole Sowore, on Saturday condemned the federal government's move to redesign the Naira, stressing that the development will further worsen the nation's economy. Speaking in Kano when he unveiled his presidential campaign ahead of the 2023 elections, Sowore lamented that President Muhammadu Buhari was embarking on a Naira redesign when Nigerians were battling with the negative impact of inflation. Sowore said the economy under this administration is based on trial and error, noting that there is no place where development thrives with security threats and government tries to redesign the Naira. The social activist told journalists that the choice of Kano to unveil the AAC presidential campaign was born out of the city's political consciousness. He pledged to redefine the education system and rejuvenate the country's economy. Sowore, who questioned the promise of the ruling All Progressive Congress to fight corruption and instill justice, declared that anti-corruption will be his top administration's agenda if voted to power in 2023. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has challenged PDP National Chairman Yocha Ayu to stop any PDP candidate from contesting the 2023 elections. Governor Nyesom Wike, who spoke to journalists in Port Harcourt on Sunday, was reacting to statements credited to the PDP national chairman that he has the right to stop those fighting him for contesting the 2023 election. Wike said that the PDP national chairman had no power to stop any candidate from contesting an election. He said a statement credited to the PDP national chairman that he has the right to stop any candidate from contesting an election was very unfortunate. The Rivers governor dared Ayu to come to the Rivers State and stop any candidate from contesting the elections. Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has sent an open letter to presidential candidates ahead of the February 2023 presidential election, urging them to demonstrate leadership to publish the sources of their campaign funding. SERAP said it is concerned about the vulnerability of political parties to corruption-seeking donations. In the open letter, signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said transparency in campaign funding would improve public trust in Nigeria's politicians and political parties and show commitment to prevent and combat corruption if elected. According to SERAP, if Nigerians know where the money is coming from, they can scrutinize the details and hold the candidates to account. Vice presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC, Kashim Shettima, has said he would personally reach out to the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, at the appropriate time before the 2023 elections. Shettima, who was delivering a lecture at the Federal Capital Territory Imams Forum on Saturday in Abuja as one of the invited guests, said Kwankwaso is a great leader, and God willing, they would sit together and understand one another at the appropriate time. He stressed that those planning to divide Nigeria would not succeed, and as such, they have to tolerate one another and make sacrifices. Rented crowd at political rallies is a common phenomenon during electioneering in Nigeria. People are often induced with gifts and all kinds to monetary promises to form a large crowd at political campaign venues. In this report, Bello Musa speaks to analysts who opine that political crowd renting only promotes thuggery and hinders democratic growth. His report.
Rented crowd is when one hired people to form large crowd at the political rally, protest, or other public events. Individuals are often attracted to attend political rally by inducing them with money or other gift to create a large crowd for a particular candidate or political party. Many, however, believe rented crowd is a deceit and setback to the growth of democracy.
So usually such crowds, to me, to my own understandings, is deceit. They rented the crowd to deceive the people. Yes. You find out, especially if people are disenchanted. They would not like to come to that political event. So what will they do? Is to sponsor people to come. And at the end of the day, you see them giving people 1,000 naira, 500 naira.
Some believe that unless leadership recruitment process is addressed, Nigerians will continue to witness renting of crowd, vote buying, and other irregularities in the electoral process.
So we should have a leader that is bold enough to stand up. That's why I said earlier on, to unite the people, we have to address the leadership question in Nigeria. Unless we address it now, it will boomerang in the near future. Because the army of unemployed youths I'm seeing around is disturbing. We have almost a near collapse system. If you look at our education, if you look about health.
In Electoral Act 2022 as amended, it comes with a lot of provisions. And those provisions that the Electoral Act come with provide for certain level of punishment for people who, most especially thuggery, vote buying, renting crowd to be part of political activities. I think the Electoral Act has taken care of that. What needed to be done is for the government to follow it up to implement those Electoral Act. I think the police, or rather the security agencies, should be able to work assiduously in ensuring that they carry out the responsibility as assigned to them by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
As campaigns gather momentum, some unemployed may be bracing up for opportunity to be paid at political rallies, though voters are admonished not to allow money to influence their choice of political leaders in 2023. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Fatima Abubakar has said she hated marriages and disliked men coming near her, which was why she killed her husband by putting poison in his food. It was her second marriage. The Borno State Commissioner of Police, Abdul Umar, who said this to the news agency of Nigeria in Maiduguri, explained that the suspect was arrested on October 19th by men of the command at Angwandoki. Umar said that the victim, who was the chief imam of the area, returned from the mosque when the suspect, who was the second wife, allegedly mixed poison in his food. He explained that as soon as Goni started eating, his condition deteriorated. According to him, the victim was immediately rushed to the state specialist hospital where he was given emergency medical attention, but unfortunately he died later when he returned home. The Commissioner of Police immediately deployed men of the Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department to arrest the suspect after the incident was reported by the family of the victim at the GRA police station. He noted that on the arrival of the police, they witnessed large numbers of aggrieved youth in the neighborhood who stormed the home of the victim with the intention to lynch the suspect, but the police were able to bring the situation under control. He added that the suspect, in her statement, confessed to the alleged crime, noting that she bought the poison from Monday Market when she already made up her mind to kill him. He said that the case had been registered as culpable homicide before the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, and she would be charged to court. The suspect, Fatima, who was paraded at the command, told the news agency of Nigeria that she killed her husband because she was tired of the marriage. The importance of formal education has been, especially for the girl child, emphasized. In Makurdi, some teenage girls begged the federal government to do more to educate girls. The report.
The girls aged between 13 and 16 said formal education can help the society stand better. They spoke on some of the benefits, encouraging the government to improve the sector.
Education helps in the rapid development of a society and a nation as a whole. In that same vein, helps give good grooming habits to citizens who tend to be nation builders of tomorrow. More so, education saved lives in the community through doctors as they are also educated to treat.
Enables children think effectively on what to do, when to do, and how to do as leaders of tomorrow. Just as the saying goes, education is the key to success. Furthermore, education provides individual with the necessary knowledge to achieve his or her desire in life.
Where there is high illiteracy, there will be low development because there will be not know how to produce or even manage their resources. But with literacy, there will be development because learned people will know how to produce and manage the resources to benefit the people.
The teenagers are, however, worried about the girl child education. They complain that poverty, culture and greed as well as ignorance are standing in the way of the girl child education.
Government should also create a platform that will enlighten parents on the benefits of a girl child education. In addition, women should be given equal treatment in the government sectors concerning politics and leadership.
Government should create public awareness, especially in rural areas where most people do not understand the importance of girl child education. Scholarships should be given to children who parents could not afford to pay their school fees.
I think that the government should provide free education, most especially in the rural areas where most parents do not see the need of training girl child and regard them as people who will waste their money and end up in another man's house. And
awareness creation for the girl child education has come to the fore in recent times. But these teenage girls are convinced that most of the rural dwellers have refused to adapt. To some, they say poverty is a cause and urge the federal government to do more for the girls in Nigeria. This is a call of organizations like the United Nations in the vanguard against gender discrimination.
Women have been urged to be proactive in day-to-day activities to enable them compete with male peers. A final year student who worked at a bookstore to make ends meet while ASUU strike lasted made the call. Kabir Lawal completes the story.
Faiza Mohammed, a student at Faculty of Law of University of Ilorin, told Trust TV News that she utilized the strike action by ASUU to further her knowledge of reading and writing.
The last 8 months, my school has been on strike. And in that time, I knew that I couldn't be idle. I couldn't just be at home waiting. And then while I usually would try to occupy myself by writing and reading a lot and volunteering online, a lot of those things are things that are seasonal, that are not very stable. And then this time, compared to the last strike, I needed something that was more concrete.
The final year student further called on female folks not to relent in their efforts to develop their skills to make them more self-reliant. She added that working in a bookshop was fun and very interesting as she met with people from all walks of lives with like minds.
And my boss, who is super nice. I have met people who write, people who read, people who do both. And I feel like that has been a privilege. And that has been the best way I could have spent these last few months. I know how it feels to be, for example, in 100 level and know that, okay, I have 5 years ahead of me and they're going to keep going on strike every 2 years. You know, so if I was in their position, I think it would be a reasonable conclusion to say, okay, if I have the opportunity to move abroad, I will. It's very disappointing to be behind, months, a year behind of my mates who are abroad and who are in private universities, and knowing that due to these disadvantages that are out of my control, I'm not able to compete the way I ordinarily would if I had the same opportunities as those people. So I think that has been a major disadvantage, but then disadvantages are everywhere and then you just have to make the most of it. And that's what I think I did here.
Faiza Mohammed then called on the students to take their academics serious, which should not only go a long way to curb youth restiveness, but also make them be good ambassadors at all times. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Drumming is a long-time tradition in northern Nigeria. Those skilled in the art of drumming are found around emirs' palaces as well as residences of traditional title holders. In this report, our reporter Bakar Abdullahi interacted with the chief of drummer known in local parlance as Sarki Makat Al-Lafia, and he gave an insight into the tradition. His report.
The traditional drummer and praise singers are responsible for entertainment that usually comes with no particular activity. A typical palace or residence of a traditional holder is considered incomplete without such native entertainment. The chief drummer of Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital known as Sarki Makanda, in the Hausa language explained to Trust TV how the tradition came into existence.
Abu ne wanda aka gada. Kasan wani za ga shiga ne, wani kuma zai shiga ne rana tsaka.
For some, it is something hereditary, while others join us to learn. My grandfather was the Sarki Makada Alhaji Abdullahi Angolu Oyakpa. If not because of the respect you have for me, you will not find me where I am. No matter how rich you are, if you don't have a traditional title, you can't see me because it is an honor for you to see Sarki Makada in your house. But you can also be honored if you have a relationship with the traditional institution.
The Sarki Makanda Lafia, who said all his family members were raised with proceeds from traditional drumming, also added that up to date, the trade is still taking care of them, and explained that even members of the family who are engaging in businesses other than the drumming and praising are hoping to come and embrace the trade of their forefathers.
In the Kabuka Samini, abinci 24 hours bai taba yi ba.
In this place, you came to see me. We do not lack food, education, clothes, and medical care. This trade alone cannot sustain our lifestyles, so we are engaged in one place or the other. I am a staff with the local authority, and my younger brothers are working in different organizations. Even our elder brother, who is an orthopedic doctor at the Federal Medical Center, Kerfi, is about to retire to come and join the trade of our forefathers.
He said members of the Sarki Makanda family can engage in the trade without training, but anybody outside the family that is interested must learn from them, adding that they don't engage in any extraordinary activity that is against their belief just to get extra power from God. He further said the trade comes with several challenges, with the major ones among them being ill health among drummers and praise singers, wear and tear of drums, as well as scarcity of drum repair. Trust TV observed that Sarki Makanda and his followers attend events such as namings, weddings, and traditional ceremonies organized by emirs, traditional rulers, family members.
Some roadside food sellers have been accused of using cheap, toxic, and contaminated food ingredients to prepare mouth-watering meals for unsuspecting customers to make profits. These food poisons, experts believe, come from poor preservation, dirty environment, and carelessness of food sellers who could also be unaware of the dangers. Adam Ima reports.
There have been serious allegations of how most food vendors, restaurant owners, and mama put operators buy ingredients that are not safe for consumption or that are going bad and cook meals for unsuspecting customers in order to make maximum profits. It was also alleged that most of the spices these food sellers used are unhealthy for human consumption. A tomato dealer at Mudalawal Market, Bauchi, confirmed that some food sellers do buy tomatoes, peppers, and onions that are going bad because it's cheaper. Majority of those who usually buy rotten tomatoes are food vendors and some restaurant operators, because the water in it is already drained, and as such cook faster than the good and fresh tomatoes and pepper in the market. We usually sell rotten tomatoes to those who need cheaper ones. Sometimes they even ask for it, but not everybody. Some will even tell you to remove the bad ones before they price it. I usually give the rotten ones to my boys, who in turn sell them to those who request for it. On the other hand, the customers who usually patronize food vendors said sometimes it's because it is cheaper and available.
I'm working near the area. I find it difficult to go home to take my food. I prefer to come here to buy so that it will be easy for me.
We normally buy food from them because of the situation in the country. The important thing is that the food is tasty and affordable. However, some food vendors at Awala Junction in Bauchi Metropolis said they spent many years in food business and still maintain their customers because they use good ingredients.
We are not talking of the quantity, we are talking of the quality. Yeah. You are sure of what you are eating and you enjoy it. That is why you come back.
We're not too profit driven. That's why our food is affordable for the common man and it satisfies them. Some may question the hygiene of the environment or even the food itself. But truth is, we do our best to ensure that the food is safe for consumption.
Meanwhile, water sanitation and hygiene advocates admonish food vendors to desist from using contaminated food and also be mindful of their environment when they buy in the market to cook for customers.
They are rotting, but because they are looking for cheap things and they want to make more gain, so they buy. So I would advise that let them buy fresh tomatoes, fresh pepper, fresh onions, and some other perishable they need to cook their soup.
Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Blacksmithing is an ancient practice of forging iron and metals into objects and tools for human use. The noble craft has played a significant role for farmers especially. This artwork is still a source of livelihood for many in Maiduguri, but has some challenges. Our reporter Beatrice Kurutsi has the details of this report.
Blacksmithing in Nigeria is an age-long occupation. It is found across all tribes and the skill is transferred from generation to generation. Gamburu Market is one of Maiduguri's oldest trade center. It's also a home for blacksmiths' old technology that produces farm implements, bush traps, knives, axe, pots, and many more. All these are crafted from iron, silver, and gold. Baba Gana Usman inherited the metal work from his father and he has been in the business for 35 years. He says the craft brings customers from here and neighboring countries. It's a trade that has not changed and still fetches proceeds for him.
Muna da suturin wayan yanzu ma akasari ma cikin kashi uku din daya da rabi ma duk sun zo ne ba su da abin duk mun koya musu sana'a.
My father taught all of us blacksmith work right from childhood. I have 3 apprentices under me. People come from Chad, Niger, and Cameroon to buy what we make. We even forge car parts. I make like 5,000 naira daily. The business has helped me and my family a lot. I provide for them and sponsor my children's education. We get our raw materials from scrap dealers who sell old items like cars, something that's not useful anymore. We make more profits during the rainy season because it's the farming period. The only support we want is to empower the youth we have trained. Meanwhile, the goldsmith business is facing some challenges of working tools, machines, and mostly sourcing raw gold. The goldsmith dealers blame the poor patronage to border closure and insurgency. They only redesign, repair, and clean jewelries for customers. We get the gold from Saudi Arabia and Dubai. Most people here prefer those ones. We don't have the equipment that forge raw gold. We only fix earrings and necklaces that are old, and we also redesign and wash when it's faded. If we could be provided with all these things, the government will be shocked with what we can do, knowing that gold is where the money lies. Back then, when the town was safe, we get karat gold in kilos, but with the insurgency, it scared traders. So we only do some touches on the gold women bring to us. But now that peace has returned, we are hoping with support, the business will start fully. And also we call on the government to open the borders to boost the business. Despite the challenges of the old metal work and industrialized methods of forging tools, blacksmithing will always be a craft that will never fade.
You're still watching news on Trust Television. I'll see you on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. The Nigerian Communication Commission has reassured the public that the new fifth-generation network 5G has no negative health effects. The Enugu Zonal Controller of the NCC, Ogbonnaya Ugama, made the clarification in Enugu on Saturday at a roundtable with members of the Association of Heads of Federal Establishments. Ugama explained that there was no convincing evidence associated with emissions from electromagnetic devices, including handsets, were harmful to the body. According to him, international bodies, including the World Health Organization, had established a threshold that there was no solid evidence that 5G caused negative health effects on humans and animals. The controller, however, advised users not to hold these electromagnetic devices, like handsets, close to their body if they had doubts. Ugama reiterated the benefits of the 5G network, saying that it was designed to increase speed, reduce latency, and improve flexibility of wireless services. Scientists across the West African sub-region have said licensed vaccines for the prevention of Lassa fever may be developed before year 2030. They stated this while fielding questions from newsmen during the Enable Lassa program workshop organized by the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness, Innovations and the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Abuja. The national coordinator of the CEPI Enabled Study Nigeria, Professor Bola Olayinka, said they were hoping for a vaccine before 2030, adding that already some vaccine candidates have been developed and only need to go through clinical trials to check for their safety. She said Nigeria was one of the endemic countries for Lassa fever, and despite experiencing it for the past 52 years, there is still no defined treatment and therapeutics for the disease. United Kingdom carrier British Airways has resumed its London-Abuja flight BA83 after cancelling the flight for 2 days. The airline had cancelled its flight to Abuja on Friday and Saturday, 24 hours after diverting the Abuja-bound flights to Lagos. The BA83 flight from London Heathrow to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport was suddenly diverted to Lagos on Thursday. The development caused outcries among the affected passengers who complained that there was no adequate notice. The airline has now changed its flight schedule to Abuja with effect from Sunday. In a memo to its trade partners, the airline said the temporary schedule change to FRO Abuja from 30th October to 7th November 2022 was due to operational constraint. Another foreign scene, a stampede left 7 spectators and 1 police officer dead during a packed concert by African music star Fally Ipupa at the biggest stadium in Democratic Republic of the Congo's capital, the police chief told official press on Sunday. The Mater Stadium has an 80,000 capacity, and reports said it was absolutely full for the local favourite, with one witness saying even the corridors of the stadium were overflowing. The agency, which had reporters in the stadium covering the concert, said police had cordoned off 3 areas to secure the pitch, the VIP stand and the stage. Singer-songwriter Fally Ipupa had arrived several hours after the show had been scheduled to start, the agency noted. The Kinshasa-born 44-year-old is one of Africa's leading musicians whose albums sell worldwide. Elsewhere, Sudan police fired tear gas as thousands protest military rule. Security forces fired tear gas on Sunday as thousands of demonstrators took to the streets of the Sudanese capital demanding a return to civilian rule, AFP reported. Rising Sudanese flags and posters of activists killed during pro-democracy protests. Protesters tried to march on the presidential palace in central Khartoum as security forces used tear gas to disperse them. Others chanted against military rule and erected barricades in North Khartoum and Omdurman, an AFP correspondent said. Tear gas was also fired in the capital's twin city of Omdurman and in North Khartoum, where protesters tried to cross the bridge leading to the center of the capital. In the eastern city of Kassala, some 800 young men and women came out to demand civilian rule, eyewitness Hussein Mohammed Chied told AFP. Protesters chanted, "Soldiers, go back to the barracks," a regular rally cry in near-weekly protest since last year's coup toppled civilian leaders. Now in sports, Reiss Nelson was the unlikely hero as Arsenal retook the top spot in the Premier League with a 5-0 thrashing of Nottingham Forest on Sunday. Nelson was introduced for the first time in the Premier League this season after Bukayo Saka was forced off with a concerning injury for England boss Gareth Southgate just weeks ahead of the World Cup. Saka set up the opening goal after Gabriel Martinelli after just 5 minutes before being replaced due to an ankle injury. Nelson struck his first Premier League goal since July 2020 early in the second half to give Arsenal breathing space. He added a second just 3 minutes later and then teed up Thomas Partey to curl into the top corner. Martin Odegaard rounded off a performance that shrugged off doubts over Arsenal's ability to contend for the title by firing high past Dean Henderson 30 minutes from time. The victory lifts Mikel Arteta's men to 2 points above Manchester City at the top of the table. On loan, Arsenal footballer Pablo Mari was discharged from hospital on Sunday after being stabbed during a deadly knife attack in an Italian supermarket. The 29-year-old Spanish defender, who was loaned to Serie A side Monza this summer, underwent surgery at Milan's Niguarda Hospital on Friday for back wounds suffered while shopping with his wife and son the previous evening. In a statement, Serie A club Monza said that Mari has returned home and would now begin a period of complete rest. Mari was one of several people attacked in a Carrefour supermarket in Assago on the outskirts of Milan in northern Italy by a man apparently suffering from psychological problems who killed one man after grabbing a knife from a shelf. 4 other people were hurt by a 46-year-old Italian who was arrested by police after being disarmed by former Napoli and Inter Milan defender Massimo Taranto. Monza chief executive Adriano Galliani had asked that Monday's match with Bologna be postponed, but fixture will be played. And back home, Nigeria's Flamingos have defeated Germany to clinch a consolatory bronze medal in the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in India. The match ended in a 3-3 draw at a regulation time, which resulted into a penalty shootout. The penalty then ended 3-2 in Nigeria's favour. Flamingos are the second African side to achieve this feat. In the first half, Nigeria's forward Okpeyemi Ajakai broke her goal drought with her brilliant opener for the Flamingos. And that's it on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Have a good night.